Hello everybody and welcome back to another modding related video on the channel. I do want to say before I fully get into what this video is about, which you guys obviously know from the title, I always tend to load onto a farm and just sit down and do a little voiceover sort of thing. And every now and then I'll toss up between what farm I sort of go on, what save I go on and everything. And so I went on a save I haven't played for a while. It was pretty far down my list and it's just very funny to see how bad I used to be at this game, because why am I on day 18 of spring? In year 2, I haven't gotten my greenhouse. I haven't finished this bundle at all. I haven't done the friendship bundle. I haven't got the glitter boulder removed. How did I get this far? Have a girlfriend? Yeah, honestly, I don't know what I was playing at the time. Anyway, as you can tell on today's video, we are going to be covering some of the best quality of life mods. So these are things that can help make your game a little bit easier. Some things like cheats, just anything to really improve your gameplay and how you want to play the game. Before we get further on into the video, here is a quick disclaimer, a little bit of information regarding all of our modding related content. So first of all of these mods are downloadable through Nexus Mods. Nexus Mods is a really amazing site. It also showcases and has most of the mods that you'll find for Stardew Valley on there. Additionally, as of March 2024, the 1.6 update is out. This update has definitely affected mods, and I know that a lot of creators are slowly working on getting some of these mods updated. I cannot confirm or deny if the mods that I'm showcasing in this video will work with 1.6, solely because most of these mods will need a backing mod such as a content patcher, the updated Smappy, or something like alternate textures. Simply because sometimes an old mod might work with an updated content patcher, and as much as I want to test all of these mods out, my poor little computer cannot handle it. So just make sure that when you download your mods and open them up in your Smappy, that you quickly check to see any mods highlighted in red. And you can also check out this incredible website, smappy.io, which will show you a newer version of the mod if this one is no longer compatible. And then also, if you want to keep up to date with your mods, just make sure to check out these purple ones here, which means that you can update them. And lastly, I will be listing all of the mods that I showcase in this video in the description below. I've broken them up into timestamps of the categories and then timestamps for all of the mods as well. If there was a particular one that you liked, you can see where the timestamp is and then the link right next to it. Anyway, now that's out of the way, let's get back to the video. As always, I've broken these ones into a couple of different categories and we have a lot to cover today. So first of all, we are starting off with our farming and foraging sort of category mods. This also covers animals as well. Up next, we are hitting our mining and combat related mods. We are then delving into our fishing mods, and then we've got a couple of fun ones. So we'll have a few mods covering shopping or shop sort of relation stuff in the game. We're then going to be doing villages, anything to do with sort of maps and buildings as well. And then ending it off, because there were just far too many that I really wanted to include but didn't know what to categorize them as. So of course we have a miscellaneous category. I will say in the miscellaneous category that there are a couple of more so cheat mods, but overall most of these mods are sort of things to just help improve base gameplay that's already there. And I will say there are a ton more and still more coming out. So I definitely hope to make another video on this, but I feel like I've gone really ham on how many mods I'm showcasing with you guys today. But with that being said, let's kick it off. We're starting strong with our farming foraging mods category. First on the list, we have the faster trees mod. So this adds in a user configurable chance each day to make all of the trees progress to the next stage of growth. And the default is at 25%. So for example, with a perfect luck day, your trees would go from a seed to a fully grown tree in 5 days. This is definitely a really fun mod and does utilize a couple of the base game features as well. I do like the idea of using luck in a sense to sort of help us grow things quicker. And when you're playing on a smaller farm or anything like that, trees can be a really scarce resource. It can be really hard to get wood sometimes. This is a very, very fun mod that sort of gives you a perk when you've got a good luck day. Up next on the list, we have the auto water mod. This one is just as it sounds and a little bit of a dream come true. So this one automatically waters your crops each day so that you can focus all of your energy and time elsewhere. I will say that this one does sort of bring a little bit more on the cheating side, because it is a mechanic that they really try to sort of push in the game. But I will say that sometimes watering crops and farming is not for everyone. There are 5 different big things that you can be doing in the game, which is your farming, foraging, mining, combat, and fishing. And at the end of the day, some of these skills are just not what people want to spend their time on, or just really what people want to do. So why not go have fun and do something that you like more, like mining, but still be able to make a little bit of money within the game. Up next, sort of similar to the last one, we have the increased sprinkler range mod. This one, just as it sounds, a allows you to either increase or decrease the range of sprinklers. So increase obviously is a little bit more helpful, but if you want to make your life harder but still want to build sprinklers, you can decrease them. This is just a really fantastic mod that really improves the efficiency of all of your sprinklers. It pretty much makes a quality sprinkler like an iridium sprinkler, and then an iridium sprinkler, well, that's a whole nother ballpark. I love making crops. I'm really big on sort of like the farming and growing stuff and then preserving things and doing all of that sort of part of the game, but definitely watering everything is a bit of a nightmare and finding particular spaces and everything. So I really love how this looks, and this is also a really great mod if you want to utilize all of the space in your greenhouse without having a sort of sprinkler not in line or perfectly centered how we like them. Up next, I thought this was a really fun one. This is the working beach sprinklers mod. So when you load up a brand new save, you're given the option of a few different kind of farm types that you can pick. And one of them is a beach farm, and it is a really, really cool farm, especially if you're super big on fishing. However, the downside for this one is that sprinklers don't work on the beach farm. It means that it is a little bit of a less farming area and really just focusing on getting money from other places, because who wants to be watering their crops every single day? So this way you can focus on other things, but also still go really big on all of your farming. A very, very handy, convenient mod. Up next, we have the Start with Greenhouse mod. This one is just as it sounds. You start the game with the greenhouse unlocked. I loved this because, as I showed you guys at the start of the video, I really used to struggle with getting the greenhouse unlocked. I don't as much now because I figured out how to do it quickly, but when you're starting a new save and you haven't been playing the game for as long as some others are, it can be really hard to get that greenhouse unlocked in the community center. Having the greenhouse is so convenient within the game, so I really like that we can have it just ready to go from day one. Well, that was it for our farming and foraging mods. We are on to one of my favorite things that I've been doing a lot in Stardew at the moment, which is our mining and combat category. So let's get right into it. Starting us off strong, we have the ore increase mod. So if you're really grinding on your materials, you want like big buildings, you want to make all these different craftables and everything, you need a lot of resources, and a lot of those stuff comes from ores that you smelt into bars. And sometimes going on a mining trip can be a little bit disappointing if you don't come home with as much ore as you need to. So with this mod, you can choose to increase the chances of ores being placed on the map. This is super, super handy, especially if you only really need to grab a little bit, or you really want to start a stockpile, or again, if you've got things like community quests and everything, it can be really easy to just be able to go and do those and focus on other things instead of grinding for days and days on ends just to get these quests done. And also, ore is so valuable, we need more of it. Up next on our list, we have the easier monsters mod. Again, combat is one of those skills that can really be a hit or a miss for a lot of players. So this one decreases the health and attack of all of the monsters by 25%. This is a really, really great mod for anyone who's beginning in the game and is not a huge fan of combat. It still gives you the ability to learn how to fight these monsters and how to like gain your combat, but it just does it in a little bit more of an easier way that makes the game a bit more bearable sometimes. Up next, I love this one. We have ladder locator. So this one is a really, really cool mod. It marks the stones that are hiding a ladder within the mines. And in these skull caves, it marks a stone where there are shafts, and it also forces shafts to appear rather than ladders so that you can go further down. It also shows a list of ores that can be found on the current level. So convenient, so helpful, and so handy this mod is, especially if you're not big on mining or you just want a bit of an easier experience. Up next on our list, we have the optional combat mod. This is a really fun one, again, especially if you're not big on that combat side of things, and this essentially lets you avoid killing monsters. It changes recipes to avoid using monster parts, it renames and also resprites monster drops to be much less violent. It adds in adventurer guild hats to certain shops and a small chain of letters the adventurers guild sends you that contains all of the recipes that you unlock via a combating level. This is really, really fun and makes this part of the game sort of not necessary to do, and you can still receive the rewards that you get from leveling up your combat. And lastly, for this category, we have the harmless monsters mod. So this mod doesn't get rid of monsters, but it essentially makes them harmless. So if they're coming up to you, they're not doing any damage at all. It also decreases the health of all monsters to 10% of their original health value, so it is a lot easier and quicker to kill them. This is really great because I do enjoy the sort of process of combat, but when you're doing the skull caves, I get scared and die quite a lot. So I do like that they can still be there. However, they're not going to do that much damage and they're a bit easier to kill. That was it for our mining and combat list. Up next, we have one that I think a lot of people are going to benefit from, and this is our fishing category. Fishing is very hit or miss for a lot of Stardew Valley players. I love it, but I know when I started, I used to hate it. So I hope that you guys enjoy this list, but let's start off with our first one, which is simple fishing. So this mod aims to make the fishing minigame, as it sounds, simple. It makes all of the fish super easy to catch, and you have to put in little to no effort to do so. This is a nice, just fun and simple mod that just changes a bit of fishing, still giving you the process of being able to fish, but making it a lot easier. Coming up next, we have auto fishing. So this is a mod that automates the entire fishing process, make it easier and more efficient to catch fish. It automatically casts the line, hooks fish and reels them in, allowing you to focus on other aspects of the game. So just to break down some of the features, as I said, you have automatic casting, which you can set your rod to cast automatically where conditions are ideal. It'll automatically detect when fish bite and hook them without your manual input. There is also a ton more features and just overall some really cool things that you can do with this mod. If you hate fishing completely and utterly, but need to do fishing for things like gifts and quests and all that sort of stuff, then this, my friend, is the one for you. And lastly, we have Let's Start with Fishing. So when you first load up Stardew Valley, you'll notice that you can't go fishing from day one. And this mod changes that. This mod provides the player with a fishing rod at the start of the game, instead of you starting without one. This is really cool. I like it, especially if you're doing a big fishing objective for this save, or in general, you just enjoy fishing and want to spend your time doing that. That was pretty much covering our sort of 5 skills that the farmer can get. So now we're going into our last 3 categories, which I think are really fun. So the first one is only a few mods to showcase, but this is our shopping mods. And these are so convenient. This first one is insane. This is the self-serve mod. I hate that money is not there on the days that I need it to be. Just like that sometimes I need to get seeds on a Wednesday and I can't go to Pierre. And sometimes I want to get stuff done in the morning as early as possible and I have to wait until 9 a.m. for Clint to open his shop. Well, with this mod, you can now access any shop services even while the owner is not there. You can go and process geodes super early in the morning. You can go and get yourself some new farm animals as well and just do everything that you need to do on your own terms. It's a great mod. I think this is very convenient. And lastly, there was only 2 for this one, but we have the cheaper materials mod. So again, if you're playing on a sort of base game farm and you haven't really got any expansion mods, it can be really difficult to get things like wood. Especially when you run out of trees, you're waiting for them to grow, you cut down all the trees in the neighborhood. And even for stone, like if you don't have time to go to the mines or you can't do that stuff where you run out of, coal and ores and all these sorts of things. This mod is super incredible because it makes the price a lot cheaper. It also makes more materials available for purchase, and you can also adjust the price if you want to make it a bit cheaper, super cheap, all that sort of stuff. I love this because again, it can just be super hard to get all of the materials that you need, and with so much limited time in the day and limited time within the months, it can be really hard to prioritize spending a whole day cutting wood or a whole day in the mines just for stone. So I do like that we can go and grab all of these materials for a cheaper price. As I said, that was it for our little shopping category. A little sad it was short, but we are on to another one now, which is our villages, our sort of maps and buildings, NPCs, all that sort of stuff, which I think this is a very fun category. But starting us off strong, we have the all NPC loves every gift mod. If you were a beginner, this mod is so helpful. And even if not, it can be really annoying and long and tedious to get everyone's individually loved items. And I also don't want to be checking the wiki every 2 seconds if I can't remember what someone's loved item is, or if they don't like a dandelion, or if they love a dandelion. So as it sounds, it just makes that every NPC will love any gift you give them, no matter what it is. This is really great, especially if you're not a big gift giver and really struggle with those sort of connections with the NPCs. And again, you just don't know what to get them. This is great because sometimes they just hate everything and I'm like, why? Up next, we have the Open Hearts mod. This was a really interesting one I found. So this just means that when you start a game, all non-dateable NPCs will start with maximum friendship hearts. This allows for easier interactions and faster progressions in friendships. The dateable NPCs, however, do require a little bit of effort and they've got all their cutscenes and storylines to go through, so they will begin with 2 hearts less than the maximum. I absolutely love all of the individual characters' stories, but again, it can sometimes be really difficult to get to them, to find where they are, and just overall unlock those stories and all of the things, what they like, where they are, etc. So I do really like that you can come into the game, you can have max friendship with everybody, and you can go through those stories and really achieve your game. Up next, this was a really cool one as well. I've said that about everything, but they're all pretty cool. But we have the custom locks mod. This one allows you to bypass locked doors, locked stores, locked rooms, and so much more. So as it says, you can enter Pierre's store on Wednesdays, you can enter places outside of the hours that you would normally allowed to, you can enter homes as a stranger, and enter bedrooms and the wizard's basement as a stranger. This is so great because there are some days in particular where characters will sort of stay in their room all day or stay in their house, and if you haven't given them a gift or aren't friends with them yet, how am I meant to progress our friendship level? I think this is a very neat and nifty mod and helps you to really maximize those friendships with those characters. Up next, we have Make Friends Fast. So this essentially gives a slight change to the universally loved items that the villagers will love gifts you can easily get at the start of the game. So things like green beans, parsnips, and blueberries are now all loved by every character. It can be very useful early game if you do want to get a quick date for the flower dance, or if you want to befriend the wizard so you can change your appearance. This is very cool because again, sometimes you can only get particular loved gifts a little bit later in the game, and I want to start building my friendships from day one, so I love that we can now have this be a bit more accessible, still put in the hard work of gifting and chatting with everyone, but make it a bit easier to give them stuff that we already have. And our last one for this category, I thought this was a little bit neat. This is Becoming Familiar. So this essentially prevents friendship decay when you are in the same area as the NPC. So essentially, if you talk to a villager, give them a few gifts, and then ignore them for a few weeks, your hearts are gonna go down. However, sometimes you're doing stuff and just talking to an NPC is just too much. So now if you are in the same area as them doing other things, that friendship is not gonna go down. I like this because it takes out the stress of having to talk to everyone or give as many gifts as you can each week, and just really enjoy the game on your own terms. Well, that is it for sort of our villagers, NPCs, buildings category. We're on to our final one and our, I'm gonna say funnest one. This is our miscellaneous category and our last one for this video. I'm very excited to share these with you guys, and these are definitely ones that I want to install. However, let's start it off. We have It's Time to Wake Up. So this, as it sounds, essentially allows you to configure a time when you can wake up. This means you can wake up prior to the 6 a.m. alarm that goes off in your game, and you can adjust it to give yourself as many hours in the day as you want. You'll still pass out at 2 a.m., but you could be waking up at 2:30. Probably not ideal in the real world, but I'm a little pixelated character. I can run on 30 minutes of sleep. Very convenient if you want to get more stuff done. And within that same category, our next one that we have is Stay Up Late. So essentially, this one gives you a benefit, but it charges you something else. So this mod will let you stay up longer at night. However, this is in exchange for stamina. If you run out of stamina, then you pass out. This is very convenient if you've been on the way home at 2 a.m. and you are just so close to your bed. You're the street over, you're at the base of your bed, or you're somewhere on your farm. Well, this means that you can finally get home and go to sleep properly, but once it hits 2 a.m., you will notice a decrease in your stamina. I really like the idea of this mod because it does give you that little bit of extra time to do stuff. However, it still keeps with the original concept of go to bed before 2 a.m. Up next on the list, we have the Sit and Rest mod. So this mod essentially allows you to sit down on a chair and recover your health and stamina. If you've watched any of my playthroughs or you've seen me on stream, you know that I like to do a lot of things in the morning. I will go into my hot springs farm cave that I have modded in there, and I'll spend a little bit of time recovering so that I can go and do more stuff with the day. Well, why can I not just sit on a chair and utilize that now? I love the idea of this because really chairs are just decorations and that's it. So now we can just chill and recover our health and stamina. Up next on the list, very convenient for a lot of people, we have the Time Freezes at Midnight mod. Again, if you have stuff you need to do, or you're like me and you just don't want to leave the mines, it can be really annoying when that clock hits 12 and it starts telling you that it's time for bed. Well, now with this mod, this changes so that when the clock strikes midnight, it freezes. With this one, however, though, since the time actually freezes now, machines also halt their progress until the next day. And the it's getting late message should only show up once too. This is great because I do like that we can test the waters with something like having extra time in our game. But again, it is a slight exchange for something else. So you can go and do stuff while the time's frozen, but you can't really just fully cheat the game. I love this. It's very convenient and super handy and a really cool idea. Coming up next on this list, we have the game speed mod. So this essentially allows you to change the real-time speed of your game and your character. It helps you go faster, helps you go slower. You can change it and choose it all, especially if you've started the coffee grind in the game and you have had your first coffee. And that little speed boost is so helpful and so handy. So now we can change it to constantly have that speed boost or just go super fast and zoom across the game. Up next, we're almost at the end of this list, but we have the CJB item spawner mod. So again, this is where we're delving more into your sort of cheat territory, but this allows you to spawn any item into your game. This can be really great for things like community center, if you have a quest but you've sold that item, or you just want things for your farm. I love the idea of this one. It is very convenient and also leads on to our next one, which is our CJB cheats menu. So this gives you an in-game cheats menu with so many different kinds of cheats. You can change all of your skill levels, what path you go down, you can change the weather, your relationships, money, time, and so much more. You can warp to places, have infinite stamina, health. Overall, it's just a really fun mod and can be really convenient if you just want to play the game how you want to. Or as well, if you just want to add subtle cheats like sort of more stamina, a little bit more money, that sort of stuff. Again, it's very clearly a sort of more cheats mod than quality of life, but again, people enjoy playing the game in various different ways, and I feel like this is a way that some people enjoy the game. And then lastly on this list, but we are ending it off with just the overall balanced valley mod. And this essentially is meant to make Stardew Valley feel new and interesting again by adding different play styles, challenges, and balancing the game aspects all at the same time. So for farming, it gives 3 brand new farming styles that are all balanced, but each has a unique way to play it. So you have your deadline mode. So it gives you a profitable farm while slowing the progression in different ways. You have your realistic mode. This is best for people who really want the most realistic farming possible. And then you have your vanilla mode. So it's a balanced version of vanilla crops with no changes to the days or seasons. There are so many new farming features. There are even changes to Pierre and Joja Mart, with things like you now getting a 10% discount when you complete the Joja route, and Pierre giving discounts up to 30% when you have 10 hearts with him. I think this just helps farming so much and is really cool. But again, that's not even the end of the mod. We're onto animals now. So this one gives you 2 different kinds of modes for animals. So you've got a realistic mode, which gives you a new concept for raising animals to make you feel like a real rancher. And then of course you've got your normal mode. So it's a balanced version of all your vanilla animals with no changes to days or sell prices. There's so many different animal features and gives you those subtle changes to the animal style gaming that you can have. Anyway, up next we have fishing. So for this one, again, we have 3 different modes for you to choose from. We start off with our easy modes. This is best for people who just want an easier mini game for fishing. You have your normal mode, so it's a balanced version of vanilla without increasing or decreasing any of the difficulties. And then for you guys out there who really love fishing and want a bit more of a challenge, you have hard mode. Again, there are more fishing features like challenging legendary fish and balanced crab pots, and just a couple of new features to change fishing. But that's not all that we do with this game. Mining and combat's next. So again, with mining and combat, there are 2 kinds of people. People who enjoy it and people who don't. So for your combat, you now have 4 different modes, which I think is so much fun. We have the easy mode. So this is best for people who want a very easy and peaceful combat system. You have your normal mode, which is the vanilla combat system for those who don't want any changes. Your hard mode, if you're looking for a bit of an extra challenge. And then your nightmare mode. So this is very much for those experts and has a lot of increases to all of those monsters. This also does do some changes and balancing out to minerals and artifacts, increases things like monster loot prices, and balancing your ore and bar prices. So many more things for mining and combat, but again, we have one last thing to go over, and this is our building and crafting. So again, we've got 4 different building and crafting modes that you can choose from to really choose the difficulty of your liking. We have your easy mode, your normal mode, a hard mode, and then ending off with the professional mode. I think this is a really fun mod, and I do like that we have the individual categories if you sort of only want to change to one particular style of the game, or there's all all of this one, which changes so much to the game. Well, besties, that is it for this video. I really hope that you guys liked all of these quality of life mods, and as always, please let me know if there are any that I missed down below, and if there are any that you're putting on your download list, and what your favorite ones were. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and then you know the drill. If there are any sort of categories that you would like me to cover, make sure to leave a comment down below. If you do want to watch more modding related videos, then there'll be a playlist right over here. But on that note, I will catch all of you guys on the next one. Bye everybody.